This is Miranda from Prue's Pets. I'm here with Dawn from Annabelle's Pet Station, and she has some great tips and tricks for us on walking our dogs.
Thank you very much, Miranda. Nice to be here today. Yes, so it's dog walking season, right? So everybody's out trying to get some exercise for themselves and get their dogs out after a kind of a long, dusty winter. Of course, everybody wants to know how to loose leash walk their dogs, and very few people know exactly how to go about training their dogs to do it. At least those of us who are positive reinforcement trainers, who don't use correction, we don't use equipment like choke chains or any prong collars or any e-collars, there are techniques that will really help you be able to accomplish this with your dog in a very positive manner that makes it fun for the dog. So first I'd like to discuss a little bit what people are doing wrong. Number one that I think people are doing wrong is they try to go too far too fast. And you really need to start loose leash walking exercises in your home under low distraction where your dog can be successful. Because when you step outside, things get exciting and it makes it very difficult for your dog to really focus and do that. So one of the things you're going to start doing is doing these exercises indoors. Once they get good indoors, then you can up the distraction level a little bit. Some of my favorite places to do this is to go into a garage.
Okay.
Because then you have that garage door that you can actually start opening up slowly to add higher levels of distraction. So a great way to kind of control the environment. And then you can go into your backyard, and then finally it would be going out in front where there's lots of unexpected things happening. So that would be your last place. If your dog is being unsuccessful, then you should go back to the previous place that you were and work a little longer there. Number two, for what people are doing wrong, is they are trying to get their own exercise walking at the same time they're training their dogs to walk. You really need to focus on your dog when you are training your dog. Number three, which is we just need to be more interesting when we are out walking with the dogs.
Yes.
So as you increase the distractions in the environment, you also have to increase the value of the treats that you're using to train your dog. So you need to do lots of turning and changing direction, and that will help you stay more interesting. So high value treats and doing more turns, okay? So you're not really going to go anywhere when you are training your dog to walk. If you are at the stage where you're going out to the front of your house, that you work in the driveway first, and just do back and forth, up and down the driveway. And as long as your dog is staying successful, you can continue to do that. If your dog is having a difficulty or an unexpected distraction occurs, you can then stop the training session and go indoors. This way you're not allowing your dog to continue to practice an inappropriate behavior, and that way it's so important. The other thing is making your training sessions just too long, which is one of the reasons why I don't think you should go for walks, exercise walks with your dog while you're training. I'm talking most sessions should be 10 to 15 minutes maximum, and if you can do those multiple times during the day, much more effective than having a really long session. Making sure that you stop when your dog is successful. Don't keep going just because they're being successful past that 15-minute mark. Stop when they're successful. Do something fun with the dog. You can either give them access to the environment. This is the perfect time to say, go sniff, and let them sniff around and have a good time. Or bring out their favorite tug toy or their favorite fetch toy and have a play session with them. And then just stop and just be done until the next time you start training again. So they're more likely to want to do what you ask them to do because they get that big payoff at the end. So allowing them to go where it's appropriate and giving them snippy social time is really appropriate. And then once they have that, then you kind of bring them back in and start walking with them again. I think now we can talk about the actual techniques to use for positive reinforcement loose leash walk training. And the first one is having the right equipment. So by all means, come to Prue's Pets. They will help you. They will help fit your dog with the right equipment and try different things if it doesn't seem to fit. And so come here, get the right harness, head collar, leash, whatever it is that you need, and great place to get your high value treats, whether it's ZVP or Happy Howies. Those are great high value treats to use for your training. I'm a harness user. I rarely ever put a leash on my dog's collar. One of the things you want to look for when you are looking for a harness is a harness that actually has a front connection. What I like about this harness is that it's got very wide padded straps, which are really nice for some of those bully breeds out there that are very strong. It's got the front hooking harness right here, which is going to be right here. This does not prevent your dog from pulling, but what it does when they do pull is they feel that pressure, and if they keep pulling really hard, they almost pull themselves back towards you. So it does give you a little bit more control. I always use a regular 6-foot leash. What that leash is made out of is really up to you. I would never try to loose leash walk, train a dog on a retractable leash ever. And I generally go with a 6-foot leash because I do like to give my dogs access to environment, and that allows me to give them a little bit more free time away from me. And truthfully, one of the things I know, people never get taught how to hold their leash properly to maintain control of their dog. I want to have this hand free for reinforcement. So I put this loop over my thumb of my right hand, and then the extra leash that I need, or I don't need, I'm actually going to loop like a bunny loop, and I'm going to slip it over my forefinger like this. And then my clicker comes up and it sits right there, so I have it right there in my hand. That hand now goes right here at my solar plexus, and it does not move. A nice 90-degree angle right here actually activates a muscle, so you have a little bit of strength against your dog. But if you stand like this and your dog starts to pull, you can just bend your knees and lower your body a little bit, and you've got power against the pulling dog. This also, by putting this over your finger, you actually stop it from sliding through your hand. Oh, your dog can pull on this, I mean, you can go ahead and pull on that really hard, and you can see how it's not sliding through my hand at all. And I don't have to have a death grip on it to do that.
Yeah, I've had that rope burn before too. You don't want that.
You don't want that. The other thing is, how long should this leash be? Well, I want the dog and the leash to have a nice J hanging there, and I want this hook, that's right here, to always be hanging straight down in a vertical position. If you see that going like that, that means there's pressure on the leash.
Right.
And that's a really good indicator that you've got your leash too short for the dog standing beside you. But you can see how he's got space that he can move around and still keep that pretty vertical, right? Yeah. And I also have this hand completely free to reinforce my dog. The first steps for teaching loose leash walking is teaching the place that the dog needs to be while they're walking. That's number one. So you got your dog on your leash, you're holding it like this. I usually put my treat bag on this side. I'm going to take a couple of treats out, and I'm going to keep them right up here by my treat bag. I'm not going to hang this down at all. I'm going to always keep it up until I click. So I click, and I treat. I'm going to treat the dog right here. That's if they have a loose leash. If they're pulling or tugging, I'm going to wait until I have a loose leash, and then I click, indicating yes.
And do you want your dog to be making eye contact with you while
They do not.
Okay.
All you want to focus on is that the leash is loose.
Okay.
And then when you click, you're going to drop this hand down there, and your dog has to come here to get it.
Okay.
You do not feed your dog out of that position. If you have a loose leash but they're not quite back by your leg and they're not paying attention, you can put that by their nose and bring them back here, and then release your treat right here. But this is the only place that your dog is going to get rewarded. Once you reward them, the hand comes back up. You click again, click, down, click, down, click, down. You can do one whole training session of just standing still with your dog, doing click, down, down. You notice this hand is not moving at all. You're not flailing. You've got control of the leash. If your dog starts to pull, you can just bend your knees and hold them. As soon as they give you some slack on the leash, you click and you bring them back over here. Dogs will tend to hang out where they get fed.
Okay.
So that's why we're creating a reinforcement zone right here. Now, for dog, this works is really great for puppies. I'll get the idea very quickly. For a dog who has a history of going out in front of you and pulling a lot, you may actually need to bring that reinforcement zone back a little bit.
Okay.
And the trick that I use for a lot of dogs is I have them hold the treats like this. And then when they click, and then down. And they're actually reinforcing right down here by the back of their thigh, under their ball. Click, treat, click, treat, click, treat. The next thing that you want to do is after you've got them so they're hanging out here, they're not really pulling you while you're standing still, the next move you're going to make is a turn. I always teach a right turn away from the dog first before I teach a left turn towards the dog.
Okay.
So you're going to go click, treat, turn, click, treat, turn, click, treat, turn, click, treat.
Okay.
The whole idea here is that you are clicking as you're turning. Don't stop, and then click, and then treat. You're clicking as you're turning, click, and that treat hand comes down very quickly. So it teaches them to kind of stay in that space as you are moving around. Until your dog is being successful there, you don't go into just walking forward with them yet. You really need them to be able to follow that turnaround with you. I always step off on my left foot when I'm walking my dog. It's a really great physical cue that we're moving forward.
Okay.
But I also like to say, like, let's go. It's kind of a release cue for walking.
Okay.
If that's say they've been sitting hanging out and they've been really good and they're just hanging out there, you can say, let's go, and they know that you're going with them. I step off, and as I'm stepping off, I click and I bring that treat down before the next leg comes up.
Okay.
And I do that for every step. So it's click, treat, click, and I keep going off on my left foot. That's over here. So I just keep doing that left foot over again. So I go. After the dog is getting used to that forward motion, and remember, obviously you're inside, low distractions, you're going to have to turn around. So that's where that turnaround gets really easy. So you go, and then you turn, and then you keep walking like that. So lots of click and treats. Every step at this point, every time that left leg comes out, you are clicking and treating as it's coming out. That's the key to starting the process.
Okay.
And when your dogs get good inside your living room, and then you move to the garage, you start all over again. When you move into a new environment, you start with the basics. Now you'll be able to move through the basics faster because your dog's going to go, I know how to do that. There's really no rush to this. If you really want it to be effective, you need to take it slow. Don't go too far too fast.
Juno, did you learn how to walk properly now? Yes? Are you going to walk well? Do you like going for walks? Okay. Thank you again to Dawn for coming out to teach us some loose leash walking tips. And I know we're going to be using those, right, Juno? Right? What do you think, June? Do you want to go for a walk? You want to go for a walk? Oh, she's on her way. I hope you get out there and walk too. Have a great day, everyone.